You know what? I want to try good mastery for Acrid. I think that's our goal for right now. Acrid mastery. Wake up. That's that was an unfortunate spawn. Come here. I missed. Still not enough. What's that? Is that a fireworks burner? It is. Oh god. I'm out of here. Big bomb, cool. Ooh, chest. War banner. Alright, I'll take it, I'll take it. Ooh, healing drones. I want one of those. Okay, one more chest, I guess. Another sticky bomb, cool. No. Ooh. Die. No! Damn, how much health did they even have fucking left? We're getting accurate mastery, though. We're getting accurate mastery of this stream. Oh shit, is that a crowbar? That is. Alright. Ooh, crowbar and a heal drone. Alright. Looks like a magazine printer down there. Alright. There's a teleporter. Alright. Map scouted out. Oop. Acrid's fucking hooping, I'm not gonna lie. Oop. Alright. Calm no mama. Shut up. Oh shit, you overloaded. Ain't you? Get the fuck out of here. The items for that. When did I mute? Oh, God. Not for too long. Okay. Alright, fucking give me that item. Leech seed, okay. We're cooking, we're cooking. Leech seed on Captain is really good. If you like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like Leech seed is better for Captain than Scythe is for Captain. That might be like a bit of a controversial take, but like, ooh, gasoline. Just I don't know. Oh, come on. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Come on, give me something good. I mean, okay. Not the worst, actually. I already got the 2 because I got Acrid's Spit. And I got, yeah, and I got the Flame. So, I guess I just need Bleed and something else. Probably not gonna be too hard to get that, actually. Ooh, almost out of easy. Let's get the fuck out. Stone Titan. Great. Oh my god, that clear. That clear. Oh, beautiful. Gotta get the fuck out of here. Healing drones, please. Alright. Dead. Ooh, stealth gut. I'll take it. How many goddamn beetles? Bite. I didn't fucking open the lunar bud. Oh, I'm stupid. There's a lunar bud on this map and I didn't open it. What's that printer? We got armor plating? Armor plating. I mean, not the worst printer I've seen. Damn it. Another fucking... what? Why are there so many guards? There's two. Oh shit, another crowbar. Nice. Give me. What we got? Fuck, more gasoline. Okay. What the fuck is this bill? Topaz brooch? Okay. This build might be skookin'. This build might be skookin'. I'm telling you. Grenade that on. Oh, that was beautiful. Whoop. Alley-oop. I missed. I didn't. Ah! I got him with a splash. Ooh, I'm feeling guillotine. See any more? Yep, one more. One more chest. One more chest. Come to mama, come to mama, come to mama. Ooh, come to mama. Come on. Something good, something good. Soldier? Here. Just 1 second. Okay, I guess I could grab. Oh wow, there's a shrine in the mountain over there. I could have greeted. I could have greeted way harder. No! Why are there so many frozen enemies? Make it easy play. Land a killing blow on 50 total enemies and have one. Ooh, okay. Doggy is hungry. Do I see any more chests anywhere? I don't. Oh, throw up. I was overloading. There we go. Yes, keep shooting at them. Whee! Oh, big hop. Bye. Fuck you. I missed. Fuck you. There we go. I wonder if there's like a mod that lets you play as the Elite Beetle Guard. How much coin we got? Ooh, 200 for that? I know sure as hell I ain't be in here for that long, but... You! Give me some- I need bleed. I need bleed. I need bleed. Oh my god, Shatter Spleen? Shatter Spleen? Shatter Spleen. Honestly, anything bleed related would be nice as hell. Just to get that extra debuff. I missed. Alright, going to grab that chest that was at the start. Is that a lunar rod? No. What do we got? Infusion, killing enemies. Oh, okay. That's just some choice item. There's some choice items, and there's the thing. Come on. Ooh, crit. I could use a little bit of that. Is that a tougher? That's a dagger printer. Ooh. Tri-tip dagger. That's one of my gasolines. Gain 10% chance to bleed enemies on hit. You're not there. Ah, my topaz brooch. Whatever. We got tougher times. Yeah, so right now I have a... I'm pretty sure that's a 20% chance to bleed. Ooh, more crit. got? What we got? There are even more ooh, dagger. Quail? I'll take it. I'll take it. And what's that? Throw a cursed doll that triggers your on-kill effects. Okay. Okay. Ooh, another quail. Whee. Now I truly do have the hops. I got Topaz Roach. We're back. We're actually so fucking back. I just need like one more debuff. One more debuff, I feel like. Oh my god. Dog is healing. There's another one? Why is there another one? I invite you. I did not invite you. I gotta get the fuck out of here. No! God damn it. Damn. Monster Tooth Knuckles. Rusted key. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Mysterium. Mysterium. Try to dagger. I'll take it. No, I don't have the money. I have the money. What printer is that? 3D printer sticky bombs. Not really. Not really feeling sticky bombs. War banner. I'll take it, I guess. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna replace this one with the monster tooth that's up there. Or try to at least. Ow! I wasn't sprinting. Ow. That's a dead Lunarian and not a chest. Come on. Fuck. There, okay, there we go. Medkit, cool. Ooh, Mountain Shrine. Do I greed? I think I might greed. I think I might greed because if I do succeed, that's two. It's 2 green items. I think I greed. Focus crystal? Alright, I'll take that. Now, where the hell is the teleporter? Is it up there? It might be. Any more chests? 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 No, okay. I don't have the money for the shrine. Man, I was really hoping for, like, Beetle Queen. Fuck. 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 No. 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 Okay. No. Yes, I am fucked. Yes, I am fucked. God damn it. Growler. Beliant. Ooh, I'll take that, actually. Outside of Captain, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really played many characters in this game. I'm pretty sure only Captain and Huntress are the only 2 characters I've gotten mastery with, even. So... I missed. Go away. Jeez. Rude. I don't want you. What we got? What we got? Fireworks, and gasoline. I picked up the fire. I really wanted that gasoline, but okay. Really wanted that gasoline. I mean, I'll go try on the mountain. Nope. Okay. Pew. Ooh, money. What we got? Trying combat. Oh. Ooh. I completely missed that, damn. Oh, cool. Increased sprint by a plus 25. Alright. Only 2 items so far, and neither of them are really what I want. Anything else? There's a healing drowner there. Right? Gunner. No, I'll take it. War banner printer. Let's see some more chests. What is that printer? Crowbars. One of them. Nice. First hit is a good punch. Ooh, tri-tip dagger. Alright, alright. And gasoline. Okay, okay. I'm feeling a bit more confident about this run all of a sudden. I don't know. It's something in the back of my head telling me that this might be good, actually. That's a dead Lunarian and not a chest. You know what? Fuck it. While we ahead. Whilst we is ahead. Let's get the fuck out of here. God damn it. Not you. Never you. What the fuck? Not even hitting it. Wait, shit, I don't have any healing. Wait, shit, fuck. That was doomed. God damn it. Okay. Maybe we go back to poison. Maybe we go back to poison. That's accurate. Land the final blow on a scavenger. Huh. Oh hey, Lunar Newtland. Newtland USA? Newtland USA. A blue orb. God damn. What a pretty fucking backdrop. Motherfucker. Fine, give me something good. Fungus! Fungus among us. What is this? Utility. Okay. That's gonna be useful once I goddamn get some enemies to kill. Of course, one spawns right there. And I missed. I missed. Give me your loot. Give me your loot. Chance to stun on hit. I'll take that. Not too bad. is that chance? I wonder. I don't want anything to do with that fiery boy. See a luck shrine. Let's see it. Oh. What we got? What we got? I'll take the drop. I like how when you stun the golem, they hold their chest like they're having heartburn. Like, dog is not having fun. I missed that. I fumbled that. That bag fumbled on the ground. Goddamn. Slug, really? I mean, rapidly went outside of danger. Not too bad, actually. Just what counts as outside of danger? Clearly not this. I think I'm going to make my way outside of danger. You silly jingly boy. Give me something, give me something, give me something. Give me something! Armor penetration, I'll take it. What we got? Ooh, topaz brooch, I'll take that as well. Thank you. Pleasure doing business with you. I got shield and heal on killing. Okay, you motherfucker. Where the fuck is exit though? Is it down there? It is. It's down there. Got a healing drone, worth coming up here. I missed. Fight and I missed. So fight again. Hit. Whee. Don't hit the tree. No, Akron! God damn it. Boom. Ooh, item. Crowbar. Item. Go hoop. Gamba. Gambo. We Gambo. Ooh. Cube. What the fucking cube? Mysterious object. Primordial cube. Fire black hole that draws enemies in. Okay. Okay. Yeah! And another slug. That's fine. You gave me fucking artifact. You gave me strange thing. Alright, time to get the fuck out of here. Whee! I thought it would draw the boss in like a little bit. Shit. Okay, there we go. Hey, what we got? Quail? I'll take it. Oh, boing! Bye-bye. Portal. Portal! Take me. Take me, portal. Take me, portal! Take me, portal! Oh. Hello. What we got? Effigy of Grief. I don't know what these do. Okay. Gangster fire missile. I'll take that, honestly. Resonance disc. I don't know what the resonance disc does. I think it's just kind of like the sacrificial dagger, but I don't know. I missed! I'm just gonna take a quick second to heal up here. Let's not enter the next zone on 41 health, maybe. Oops. Alright. Fucking jump through that shit. Thought this was fucking VR chat. Whoops. Abandoned aqueduct. Origin of tar. This is where all the tar came from? This is where all the tars are from? Pew. Oh, not one of you. Not one of you. I don't like you. I don't like you. Please die. I don't like you. Please die. Why is there already so many motherfuckers on me? I just want to go shopping! Gamba. Medkit. Ah, fuck you. Gamba. Fuck you! Go for like a roll of pennies right now. That might be good. Because hey! Average Friday Black shopping experience, yeah. I miss gasoline. I miss Will-O-Wisp. Gamba, chat, Gamba. Vingelos, how you doing? Whoop. Come on. What the hell? Why? Why so many? I missed. Whoop. Boom. Ah, I don't like Warbanner. You see me fucking running around in circles. I can't stay still. I can't stay still enough for Warbanner. Shrine of the Mountain? No, that's a combat shrine, okay. I miss having bleed. Oh, hey, crowbar. Fucking impulse. That was literal impulse. Please spell Beetle Guard. Plural? Because I only see the one. Spam with the wisp and the... I don't know what I'm doing good. I'm doing alright. Yeah, I see that. Could really go for... I could really go for leaving the fucking here right now. Why is my healing drone not healing me? Thank you, little buddy. I can't believe I missed that. Not fuck it. We are leaving. We are leaving. I did not mean to throw that, but whatever. Alright, he's dead. Ooh, more missiles. I've also noticed that, like, for some reason, when I'm playing Acrid, all of the wisps fly so low down to the ground. It might just be because, so you can actually hit them as Acrid, but, like, still, why are you so low? Get the fuck out of here! Are you rocking? Wait, no, I'm not. I don't have the DLC. I don't have. Ooh. Ooh. I don't have the DLC. What is that? What is you? Sure, I guess. Equipment drone. You now have cube. Be good with it. Maybe you shouldn't have cube. Maybe I did fuck up. Where are the enemies at? Acrid want kill. Missed. That is true. Akron is a big boy. Is that a fucking... That is. I hate you. 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 There we go. Sorry. Ah, man. He's stealing all my enemies. Okay. Baby. Maybe giving the equipment drone the the black hole box is a good idea. Another war banner! I don't want war banner! Well, I guess they're working with how many I have. They're just half the map now, so whatever. No, I only have 2. Beautiful. Whee! Ah. Ooh, leech seed. Finally! God damn, I could have used this a while ago. The war banner drops where you're standing whenever you like have an in-game level up, right? That's how it works. It's like when you activate the portal and when you level up, right? I think. Speaking of portal, Gamba. What we got? Clovers crystal. I'll take it. And what's this? Transform. Only recycle 1. Okay. You're my fucking enemies! Oh, well, I guess they're getting dropped off the void. Bye! Reroll. Oh, reroll the item on the ground. Okay. I understand now. Oh, bye. Bye, everybody. That's probably pretty good for like if you got Shrine of the Mountain on. Which honestly, I haven't seen any of these that run or this run. That run. What are you? Adaptive chest. Fuel cell. Additional equipment slot. Cool. Nice. I'm not seeing any more chests, so I think it might be boss time. We got Grove Tender. Oh my god, I love the Grove Tender's design. One of the sickest looking bosses. This little guy. green item from boss. I can! What do we got? What is this? Oldor stealth kit. Okay. Hey, Lunar Grind. Ah! Fuck. Goddamn, the black hole and acrid combo. Black hole and acrid combo. Woo. Beautiful. What is that? Blood Shrine. Eh. Whee! Oh my god, what? Damn! I fucking bounced off him! What the fuck? Whee! The cave? Really? Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna scrap what? I thought you were only gonna take one! I wanted to only... Oh my god. Okay, well... When the fuck are you even out of danger this late into the game? You know? Takes up to 10, I believe. Okay. Well, it was just slugs, and like I said, when the hell are you even out of danger in this game? Ooh, stealth generator. I mean, shield generator, stealth generator. God. Did they make a boss version of the Bellboy? Of Dink Donk. Whee! Ooh. That is a Stone Titan. Why are you here? You shouldn't be here. Steak. I should have re-rolled that. Oh well. You know what? Actually, you fucking come here. Are you dead yet? No, you're not. Okay. I'm almost dead. Oh, how the fucking tides turn. How the fucking turntables. Ooh, feather. I fuck myself over with that one. You know, before I jump in, what is your arbor? Ooh, okay. Okay. So that's what your R does. Got it. You know, I actually haven't played Rex before. I unlocked them and then just kind of like moved on with my day. What's the nearby enemies? Okay. Okay, sorry, I was reading the skill loadout. Now let's give Rex one run. Then we're gonna go back to accurate because I'm trying to get mastery on accurate. It is not going too well. Okay. Oh my god. Ooh man. Crit, bleed, or heal. Crit, bleed, or heal. Where are the enemies? Hello? Looks like a raw chicken. I know, that's why I want to get it. Crit. I want crit. Go away. Oh, hello. You're a different Titan. You're a different golem. Go away. Go away. Go away. Maybe I should have gotten healing. Maybe I should have gotten healing. Maybe healing was the right choice. Fucking a slug. A slug. God damn it. No, I don't like slug because I personally just have no clue what counts as out of danger in this game. Like, am I out of danger now? I know I'm full health, so I can't really test that. Ooh, speed. I really wish I was out of danger right now. Ooh. Oh, it's you. Okay. Basically when you don't take damage for some time. Okay. Okay, so it basically just boosts your natural regeneration. Okay, and that makes a bit more sense. A goddamn key! I don't want, you know... I want one item and one item. Ooh! I want one item and one item alone. And that is Will-O-Wisp and only Will-O-Wisp. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Hello? You know what? No. Fucking all the items. All the items. That's it. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. God damn it. Take them all. You took my fucking lens glasses. You could fucking take everything. Fuck you. Boy is slow as hell. Is that another? It is. It's another gasoline printer. Oh, okay. Well. You know, maybe not everything is as bad as it looks. Maybe not everything's that bad. One and five. Ooh, you know what? I'm not gonna scrap that. Lunar coin? Did it fall in the void? No, it didn't. Give me my lunar coin. Give it to me. 100% crit stage 1? Maybe. If I can get enough chests for that. Good. Sticky bomb. Nothing. And quail. Honestly, I'm good with quail. Quail's nice. I'm already missing Acrid's movement ability. Oh, hey, chest. Topaz brooch. Why? Give me that shit. Alright, 30% crit. That's 3 shots per fire. I pretty much already have... what? Huh. Free bubble. I pretty much already have 100% crit. Honestly. I don't know. That makes sense, I guess. Oh, hello. Oh, hello there. You two stay there. You go. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy howdy. Oh boy howdy. Oh boy howdy. Oh boy howdy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy howdy. Oh boy howdy. What the fuck? What the fuck? There were so many golems. Hi, Andre. How are you doing? Please don't swoon so much. It's making me uncomfortable. I'm gonna be fully honest with you. It's starting to make me uncomfortable. Yeah, Rex is sad. I want to get the raw chicken. This is the run, chat. This is the run. Man, that printer we got last run, that lens maker printer, that would be really useful if I got one of those again. What are the chances? What are the chances? I don't know, and I really want it. Is that a mountain shrine? No. If I do die next run, or if I do die this run, well, I know I'm gonna fucking die. But next run is gonna be lens maker. Ooh. It's gonna be the lens maker. Next run, I'm gonna put on swarms because why not? Got Katy Perry on my first item. I guess I did. Yeah, Katy Perry. Uh-huh. What? Why is it Katy Perry, if you don't mind me asking? I'm gonna be honest, when I read that first, I read Krabby Patty, and I got Lindbergh, and I got really confused. You got Krabby Patty as your first item. Was this a volcano egg? I don't. God damn, I don't want your keys. I do not want your house. Stop giving me your keys. Wish. What we got? What we got? What we got? Shield gen. Fucking, I guess, defense run. That's cool. You know what? While I'm still in easy, let's try and get to the second round. Of course you spawn up there. Cool. Hey. I don't think this thing does damage. I don't think that's how that worked. Shit, cover. I'm fucked. To be honest with you, chat, I don't think I make this. You are not using the fucking beam another time. Come on, dude. Come on. Woo! What we got? Okay. I'll take it. You know, I want to Gamba. I want to Gamba a little bit more. And I still can, so... Gamba. Alright. Cool. Bye! Oh shit, you know what? Oh, fuck yeah, I took the key. Alright. We're goated. This is the run. Now, if only I could get Tri-Tip Dagger, a Gasoline, one other debuff item, and the, marking item. Just if only, you know, just a little funny hypothetical. Oh god. Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Tougher times, okay. You got Bungus, of course it's the run. Whee. Come on, give me some good. Give me, let me smooth. Ooh, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. What we got? Bison steak. I'll take that, I guess. If there's a scrapper, I am gonna scrap. If I do see a scrapper, I am gonna scrap the bison steak and change out for one of those lens makers. So I was at the spawn. Well, fucking goddamn. I made motherfucker. Gordon, you lousy motherfucker. What we got? Topaz Roach. Cool. Bison steak. I'm slow. Alright, I think I'm gonna gamb out this statue, or at these statues, and then maybe try and find exit. Raid banner near. That resets. Okay. Okay. I like that. That makes me feel good. I like seeing that. We should see more of that, honestly. Woo! Look at this silly dog. They're wearing it as a fucking around their neck. Look at this silly dog. Oh, okay. That's not equipment? No, okay. Focus crystal, that's nice. That's nice. Ooh, but magazine. Oh, I'll take it. I don't like being on fire. Ooh, energy drink. Anything to not be slow as shit. I mean, Accurate does have a pretty nice movement skill, but, like, still. What do we got? What do we got? Is that... Ooh, that's a huff. That's a hoof printer. I haven't seen one of those on printer in, like, a long time. Ooh, okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. Now just like any goddamn any on kill gasoline something. Just like I'm going back to the Gamba. I'm going back to the Gamba. Ooh, wait, there's a chest. What? Tesla? Okay. Okay. That was a regular chest. Why was there a Tesla in there? You fuck me. You fuck. The rage I feel is immeasurable, chat. Oh my god. Like, damn. You, give Birdie item. Thank you. Focus crystal. I'll take it. You could birdie item again, though, you know. I really could go for a gasoline right now. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm fiending for a gasoline. But I'm already in hard, and we're only on stage 2. Hey, this puts me over. We're doing it. We're doing it. Fuck yeah. Increase jump height. Hold interact to slam down into the ground. 2 red items. Stage 2? This is the run. Hello? This is the run. Hell the fucking low? Oh my god! Smelled it! Oh! Oh, beautiful! Oh, beautiful. Acrid. Doggy, you're beautiful. Oh. Kaboom. Hi. I missed again. I missed. Arrow. This is the run. We're doing it. We're doing it. I gotta lock in, though, but we're doing it. We're gonna do it. We are making it to goddamn... We're making it to mastery. Damn, that's expensive. That is expensive. Whatever. Boing. I got the fucking spoings. If only I still had quail. If only I still had quail. Get the fuck out of here. Oh my god. What is that item that replenishes your, like, or that gives you another shift charge? Whatever the friggin' third one's called. Ooh, okay. I'll take it. I'm pretty sure that just means I get more gold. I'll take a quail. Why not? I already fumbled the bag and didn't get the fucking comfort time, so why not just get movement? I got some scrap fodder, I guess. Oh, well, hey, another tougher times. Even looked to see what was fully there, but also, like, it's a tougher times. I probably would have taken the tougher times still. Where's the spawner? Is it over there? I don't see it. I got. Ooh. Okay. Sure. Oh, cool. Another red item. Plant a healing fruit on a kill. Shit. What is happening? I swear I didn't do anything. Why am I getting so many red items? Oh, there's heal. I mean, there's teleporter. There's heal. Approach. Alright, boss time. Shit, where did you go? Oh, over there. No, I missed! Is he dead? No. Alright. They're almost dead. Now they're dead. Wisp! Wisp! Fuck you! I got Wisp. Oh, fuck you, I have Wisp. Fuck you, I have Wisp. Oh, fuck you, I have Wisp. Oh, yeah! Fuck you, I have Wisp. Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. Oh my god. By treasure, does it mean like the lore items, or does it just mean like more gold? I'm being cocky. I am being cocky. I need to calm down. I am still killable. I may have Wisp, but I'm still killable. Oh, this combat, eh. I'm pretty sure this is the map with the guaranteed red item. Shadow Spleen, please! Shadow Spleen, please! Oh my god. Oh my god, that was so close. That was so damn close. Gold roughly the amount to open a chest. Okay. Nice. Where are you? Please, fucking die, man! I missed him. There we go. Or is it? It's over here. Shit. Okay. Well, that's not good. That's an Elder Lumerian. I don't like that. I don't like that bro's just kind of here. He's dead now. He's dead now, so that's fine. Do I have enough? No, I need like 3,000 something. That healing drone is looking really good, though. Now let's go check again. Do I have enough? No. Damn, how much do I fucking need? Goddamn, having to open up a 401k just to open a chest. Fucking another one? There's two! Why? Oh, the fucking dead. What we got? Extra 2 charges for utility skill. And reduce skill cooldown. Okay. That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah. Another Grimoire. And a healing drone. Where's that coming from? Over here. Whoa! What the fuck happened there? More jumps, I know, but what the fuck kind of jump was that? Oh my god. Alright, you know what? Boss time. Boss time. It's at I see you. Fuck! Not you! I hate Magmorm. I hate Magmorm. Nothing you do can make me appreciate or like Magma Worm. I keep missing! Oh shit, one died. Oh, they're both dead. Okay. What'd I get? Ooh, I got the gold item! Chance to hit fire... Or chance... Fire magmals. Okay. Okay. Oh, God. What the fuck was that? Hello? What the fuck was that? Why did the game do that? Oh my god, you guys saw that, right? Oh, it's quarter time. Oh my god. Ugh. Oh, hey, a magma worm. It's getting hit by the boulders. What is that noise? Hey, parent. I've never seen an elite parent before. I didn't even know they could spawn elite. I thought they couldn't. That's... What the fuck? The fuck? That was an ice elite. Interesting. That's an Elder Lumerian. Chronobobble. Ooh, if I had the mark, if I had that fucking for, There's another one. Why are there so many big motherfuckers over here? I think I got all the money I'm gonna need for the stage now, though, at least. What's that? Oh, I thought there was an item over there. Okay, feather. Give me the mark. Give me the mark. Nope. Sticky bomb. Broken chest. Another sticky bomb. I'm not too sure about how to feel about that. Where did the parent go? Oh, they're up there. Oh, bye. Bye. Have a nice time. Oh, there's the teleporter. How do I make it loop again? I gotta do like 3 loops to achieve mastery, right? Yeah. Sticky bomb, eh. What's that? That's another sticky bomb? Really? There's no way. There's no way that's also... It is. What the fuck? Well, I'm down here now. As long as you're on Monsoon. Okay. You know, I'm just gonna do the generic Volt. Alright. What's your choice? Is this choice? You know what? Command. That's what I want, right? Yeah. That is a good point. Press escape while I'm Googling, yeah. What's command? Yes, command. Command's the one I want, right? Command. Refresher of honor. Command. Choose your item. Yep. Alright. I'm about to have so many lens makers and tougher times. I'm about to have... No, it's a crown. Cute. Unlock time. Ow. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really get too many chests on this command. They're all fucking expensive shit. Ooh, shit. Red item. What red item do I get? Command plus sacrifice plus sword plus soul. What red item do I get? I'm gonna get Dio. You know what? I'm gonna get Dio. Because, yeah. I don't know. If I do die, I want to... just the buffer. The buffer. Alright, yeah, I gotta tap on you. Hi, Squidward. Was that really the only fucking chest in here? I only got 3 chests? And one of them's a goddamn fucking utility. One of them's a thing, and I don't want to really change out my... That can't be it. That can't be it. It is! That's it! Oh. Well, darn. No! No, no, no! Oh, you gotta be kidding. Oh, I don't take any damage from fall. I'm frozen. Oh, yeah, it does, right. No need to collect them all. Oops. Oops. Well, there's a... Oh. There was a buffer. I thought, at least. So many goddamn jellyfish. Is there a chest back here? No. Damn. At least I got a fucking free red, so... Hi, mister. I don't like you. Oh, well. I'm over the edge again. Fucking hell. Right. Yeah, that scared me. Thank you for the follow. Vengalis? I'm gonna be honest, fuck. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Could you please? Yeah. My brain realized that I thought I did, but my brain realized that I probably don't. So can you? How do I pronounce that? It scared the shit out of me. Ugh. Fuck. Oh my god. Hello, I'm awake. Ven. Oh, okay, thank you. Welcome on in, Ven. Hope you have a nice time at the chirp nest. Hi, big guy. What'd I get? Infusion. Okay. You fucking Wario-rizzing me? What the fuck? Yeah. Wait, did it pop up? Did it pop up correctly? I didn't see it. It should have. Anyways. fuck is you? What do I get? Emergency drone. Interesting. They must help during emergencies. It did pop up. Okay, thank you. I heard it, and it scared me. Got magazine, hoof, slug. I'll take a bit of run, honestly. Berserker's Potion. Frenzy after killing 4 enemies. Yeah, that's nice. That's really good. I like that. That makes me happy. What is a white I can get rid of? What is a white I can get rid of comfortably? I have recycling. Never mind. Second focus crystal. Never mind then, huh? Never mind. I ain't get shit. I ain't get shit. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. What? Why? No lap. Hands off the merchandise. Screw you and your focus crystal. What? Oh, hey, Beetle. That's a lot of. That's a. Seems to be a lot of dudes. That's how that was. I don't know. Something about that told me that was a lot of dudes. Holy shit! They got fucking snipers on the enemy team. What the fuck? I've never seen golems with better aim. Oh, beautiful. We got... Oh, hey, I got the gold item. The gold item. I'm doing alright. How are you doing, Dark? I'm doing really good. I'm having... I just realized that I was taking a bunch of damage. Please don't be dead. Please don't be dead. Please don't be dead. Okay. Oh. Why are you red? Oh, because you're fire. That's a Malachite enemy. Why is that a Malachite enemy? Really? I don't like Malachite. I'm getting the fuck out of there. Finally back home? That's good to hear. Fucking die! Malachite enemy! Goddamn. Oh my god. Finally, the first chest of this level. Suffer dimes! Maybe. Okay. Taking a brooch. I'm taking a second brooch. We got. Oh no, I have 4 topaz brooches. Okay. The sticky bombs. Okay. I need to leave. I need to leave. I need to leave. I need to leave. I need to get out of that situation. I need to get out of this situation, and I need to leave. Oh my god. That jellyfish is making people invisible? And I don't like that. One the fucking helling bit. No! Wait, I have a Dio. I have a Dio! Why is it unkillable? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh right, ours does spread to nearby enemies. Okay. I keep thinking it's a bite, but it's probably a projectile, ain't it? Oh, invisible man. I want more items, totally honest. Man, if only I had a fucking old guillotine. Hey, slug? Slug, buddy. Yeah! Don't freeze. That is the last thing you need right now. Where are the items at? Not at this age. Oh! Okay. Never seen anybody get up here? Wait, no. Take a screenshot. It'll last longer. Alright, screenshot taken. Oh, hey, Tri-Tip Dagger. And War Banner. Alright. That was some hefty as fuck fire damage. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna start the thing. Another Beetle Queen Swarm. Okay. It's not a common occurrence, unfortunately. Unfortunately. I'm trying my best to set boundaries. I'm trying. It honestly, it makes me really uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's becoming one. I missed. Reminds me of the neuron activation meme. Oh, okay. I got jump scared by my own Beetle Guard again. What the fuck? Oh, right, yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of want to leave. I kind of want to leave this situation. There's another one! Dog! 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 Oh my god! A cool mushroom's totally the most useful item in this situation, where I need to be on the run constantly. I keep missing! There's a Malachite somewhere in the goddamn mess. Oh no, the two bosses are over there, so that's good. Oh, at least I can't bash the bungus. No, I really shouldn't be bashing it. It's saved me multiple times this run. I ought to put more respect on the bungus's name. I gotta stop dissing the boy. I gotta stop dissing the boy. The one, the only. One of you die. Either of you. Goddamn, thank you. Fuck. Hey, why can't I move? Oh, I got frozen. Confusion! Cool. Did I see a chest over here? No. I don't see any chests over there. Oh, this is not even a bridge over there. Am I wasting time? Most likely. Am I wasting time in getting a bunch of enemies to spawn? Definitely. Click noises when you hold R, yeah. Is that another? Oh, more chests. Never mind. I'm not wasting time. Oh, fuck yeah, gasoline. We're back. We're back. Gasoline acquired. We're back. That is enough items for the thing to trigger. So now I just need, what's it called? I need that green item. It's a mask. You know the one, right? Yeah, I know the one. Highly recommend the fun stuff. Ooh. Wait, highly recommend the item. Oh yeah, the ignition bottle or whatever the fuck. Why is it not getting me anything? Jesus. A quail? That's it? Okay. 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 Oh. Slug. I forgot where the teleporter is. No, I didn't mean to. That was fucking whatever. I lost my will-o-wisp, but at least I still have the gasoline, but god damn. Oh, there's the teleporter. That an unopened chest? It is! What do we get? What do we get? Soldier syringe? These assholes. There's a malachite somewhere in there. What the Sigma? Jesus Christ! There's so many. I need to get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of Dodge, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Oh my god. Heal up, heal up, heal up, heal up. There's so many birds! Are both of them dead? Okay, they're dead. They're dead. They're dead. Alright, let's get out of here. Oh my god. Fuck. No, don't stand still. Oh my god. Oh. Oh god, that big floating robot's gonna be here, isn't he? Yep, there he is. I don't like you. Oh, hey, look, a guillotine. I don't have the money for that. Instantly kill low health elites. If you destroy a blue, they just spawn another boss that drops a guaranteed red item. I know. I thought they instantly spawned via time thing, but no. That's the current Destiny eyeball orb that's on the stage. Sorry, I'm taking a second to breathe. I got an achievement. I got pandemic. Oh, I got COVID-19. Nice. Inflict poison 1,000 total times. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh my god, I gotta. uh... 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 I wanna leave! I wanna leave! Oh my god! There's another jellyfish. Why? Open the damn chest. Critical strikes increase attack speed by 3 times. Cool. No! What? No! Oh! I gotta pee. Look at our BRB screen. It's fancy and I made it myself. I thought that was gonna be the run. I thought it was gonna be the run! Okay. Fucking, you know what? You know what we need to listen to? You know what? I'm just gonna put it to, like, something calm while I go, to the BRB. Shit. Has some tonal shift. Listen to the fucking Stardew Valley. Listen to the Stardew Valley theme OST. Fuck. I gotta go pee. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Oh man. Uh, love the Stardew Valley OST. Alright, it's time. It's time. You know what? I feel like playing my main boy, Captain. But the point of today's stream is to get mastery of Acrid so it can be a little freaking goblin, little raw chicken boy. Stunning. What isn't a stunning? Every enemy hit. Ooh, frenzied leap. Neat. I'm gonna try frenzied leap. Also, you know, this is a shits and giggles run. Slap on swarm. Why not? Alright. Oh my god. Ooh, lens makers. What? Still no? Okay. Come to mama! Yes! Okay. Oh my god. Man, I got so many red items that first run, or that run. Like, damn. Hell no, what the fuck do you want from me? I fucking missed! Oh, wait. Still did it. Okay. Okay, Berserking Pauldron, not the fucking worst. Berserker's Pauldron, not Berserking Pauldron. I mean, this is really the Berserking Pauldron because I wear it when I want to berserk, so... And it's separate from my fashion pauldron and my, my dinner pauldron. Give me good item. Give me red. Red, red, red. Nope. Ah, okay. Nobody. Over there in the teleporter event. Oh! Not too mad at that. Not too mad at that. You know, I'm just gonna do the teleporter and then remember to... Yeah, remember to do this. Really? Oh, yeah. I was gonna say 2 already, but then I remembered that I have Swarm on. Which I think also doubles the items? I died. Quick run. Are we gonna thank you. Have a good day to you too. You know what? Screw it. We're gonna put on command and swarms. Yeah. shits and giggles run. Okay. Want more items before I activate that teleporter. That could work as well. God damn, I love being able to just smooth. Oh, I didn't make that. I'm gonna take a bunch of fucking fall damage. Oh, wait, I'm out. Okay, let me let him charge up a little. Yeah, I'm not getting any other chests, am I? Okay, whatever. Right, boss time, boss. Healing throw, please heal me. Please. there. I'm fucked. Damn. Okay, let's do a fucking actual run now. You know, I'm going back to Caustic Leap, though. Yeah, Leap, yeah. The old acid trap's really nice. You know, when I went pee, I probably should have fucking also filled up my water bottle, because I've been talking for a while, and I haven't been hydrating. We got sticky lens maker. I don't have enough. Oh, I'm the sniper. I am sniper TF2. That's me. Fuck you. Give me those fucking lens makers. Woo! Looking sharp. Looking sharp. Boom. Come on. There you go. Wasn't there a chest over there? There was. Hi, bear. My dog is sniffing my leg. Oh no, it was just a little guy. Okay. No, there's a chest. That's stupid. I should have enough money. Why don't I have enough money? Make like a leaf. Hey, leggy. I'll take it. I'll take leggy. Give me you. Tri-tip dagger. I'll take that. Healing. There'll be another chest. I can get a healing item from there. Shrine of the Woods. I don't know what that does. I don't have enough money for that? What? Okay, now I definitely have enough money. No. Another tri-tip dagger. I mean, fuck it, I'll take it. Better than nothing, honestly. What we got? Random. Shield generator. Ooh. Is that the teleporter up there? Oh. Okay, so the teleporter isn't up there, which means it is here. Most likely. Ooh, free. I got Firestorm and missiles. Okay, I'll take it. I didn't kill that enemy. I thought I... it's not over here. Okay, where the fuck is the teleporter? Damn, it took my movement speed. Oh well. My dog is howling. I'm gonna have to get him in a second. Okay, 1 second. Bear, hush! Hush! B. What? I don't know me. I'm back. You know, actually, I'm gonna refill my water really quick. Stardew Valley music, go! Alright, I'm back. I'm back. Whew. Alright. The Stardew Valley music is still playing. No, where is... It's a fucking teleporter. Where's the fucking teleporter? This run's dead already. I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull this one back. Because, like... I can find the teleporter. Is it up there? Is it? Is it down here? Where the fuck is it? There's no way I spawned next to it. Right? Yeah. No harm in trying to find it, though. Like, damn. This ain't the run, though, apparently. I fucking missed. Damn, what a disappointing miss. Yeah, I thought so. I thought it didn't spawn this close. Spawn next close. Where is it? Where the fuck is the teleporter? What the fuck? Dog. Where you at? Dog. Okay, you know what? Back to menu, yeah. New run. Get away. I couldn't find the goddamn teleporter. Oh my god. Try and pull. Is that a healing ground? Ooh, want. That's a want. That's a gunner. Okay. Oh my god. Acrid makes such interesting noises. Now that the sound isn't just tick 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 tick, and I actually get to hear this goddamn lizard grunt. Dude. There's the teleporter. I don't have a single item yet. What's it gonna be? Ukulele, I'll take it. His music was electrical. I missed. I was about to fucking start it. I was about to be stupid and start it. Nothing. I'm gonna be fully honest, don't really know what this what it does. Is it when they're near or when they're close enough, or I don't know. How does the ukulele proc? Boing. Arrgh. Fine. Okay, fireworks, fine. Why not? Do I think I'm gonna greed and try and see if I can find one more chest. Ooh. Or that. That works too. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing? Motherfucker. Nothing! Oh, I'm frozen. Gnarl, heal over time, activate, Nope. So what the fuck does this do? Heal over time, activate to send to an ally. Okay. Oh, so that's probably the, like, 5s that are popping up above my head. Okay. Oh. Die. Thank you. I don't have any allies to heal, so... Oh, hey, gasoline! Hey, I'm already in medium. We better get the fuck out of here. I'm being called 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm back. Phone call. Whoop. I faced through her. Oh, hey, another ukulele. Come on, there we go. Jeez. Oops. I wonder what's the, like, lore explanation that, as to why the teleport doesn't ever go to 100% and instead goes to, Jeez, I'm stuttering over every word. And instead it stops at 200, or it stops at 99. 200? No. That's not right. 200. I missed. Nothing. Nothing. You're a scam artist. Hey, there's a teleporter. I haven't got any fucking items, though, so I'm not gonna teleport yet. I want no robot. I want items. I want items. Oh, we got a chrono bobble. Okay. What time? Oh my god. It is... Later than I thought it was. This might actually have to be the last run. Not gonna lie. Would honestly love to go longer, but I haven't striked yet. I gotta go! Gotta get out of here. There we go. Another goddamn Chrono Bobble. Fuck you. I mean, like, slowing enemies is not the worst. It's actually kind of nice to just be able to slow enemies down, but still. Gamba time. Eh. Teleport me, baby. Damn. I froze. I did that to myself. Fine. Bam. 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 Ow. Where the fuck are the swarms at? Ugh. Where's the Where's the unnecessarily large group of enemies? Where's the Panera? Where's the Panera? Fine, big chest. Give me a good item. Activating your equipment. I don't have. My equipment doesn't work like that. God damn it. I didn't even activate the fucking thing. Just to walk past it, missed the goddamn activation. did so many goddamn golems spawn? What happened? Damn, I really thought I was gonna die there. I had to lock in though. Woo. Got it, woo! Got it, there you go. Oh, fuck it, I'm spawning the boss. I need to get out of here. I'm already at insane. I'm only in stage 3. Fuck. Of course it's you. Of course it's you. Yeah. Oh well. My eye, this is a little eye. You know what, chat? It's been good. It's been good, but it's time to go. Wow. Hey, first time with our new ending screen. I made this in Blender. I made all of the, all these were actually made in Blender. The BRB screen, the starting soon screen, the ending screen, all of them. I made them in Blender a few days ago. I really like how they turned out.